What is up, guys? This is Ed Gregory from photosincolor.com, and we are on time. Are we? No, we're not. We're a few minutes late for another PIC Live show. This is the show where you send in your photographs. I take a look at them, review them, and tell you what I think. Every week it's on a theme. This week's theme, chosen by you, is reflections. Here we go. So if this is your very first time to a PIC Live show, basically my name is Ed Gregory. I can't even talk. My name is Ed. I'm a little bit tired this week, guys. I'm so sorry. Ed Gregory. But let's talk about my name for a while. A lot of people call me Gregory. My name is Ed Gregory. Edward Gregory. Eduardo Tomás Francisco Gregorio is my full name, but in English it's Edward Thomas Francis Gregory. So, yes, Kev's looking at me like, what are you talking about? So what do we have? Who is here to run the show? We've got Kev over here checking out the live stream, making sure everything's going fine, and checking on all of your awesome submissions, making sure we don't have any nude photos sent in, because we are live on YouTube and that is not allowed. Over here we have Raymond Tripp. Here he goes. He's going to lean in. This is Ray. He is switching between all of the different cameras and bringing up the graphics on the screen. So if something goes wrong, it's Ray's fault. And who do we have just here? This is Rosie. Rosie White, my beautiful girlfriend. She is here to answer all of your questions. No, she's not. She's here to take all of your questions. Have any questions, not about this show, but about photography in general? Actually, you know what? Just general. Just ask any question and I will try and answer it. Rosie,
we're early today because of daylight savings, because we changed times and
England didn't.
Yeah, well, Europe hasn't. So
Europe hasn't. We're an hour early.
Everyone's like, you're early.
Oh no!
For once, we're early, guys.
Okay, so check this out. We did not think this through. I thought that everybody changed at the same time.
No, we don't.
They do not. No. We are early. So a lot of you guys might be tuning in a little bit later. If you do, welcome to the late live show.
2 hours special.
2 hours. Should we just keep on going for 2 hours solid? Do we have people tuned in though?
Yes, we do.
We do have people tuned in. Okay, hopefully people will come and join us during this show. And you can always watch it back and write a comment afterwards about my thoughts on your photographs. Remember, if you want to upload a photograph to the PIC Live show, what do? You go to photosincolor.com/live and the link is right there. Click on that and you can upload it. Alternatively, it's in the description below it. Is it in the description, Kev? It is. Yes, it is in the description. In fact, I think I did that this week. Whoop, whoop. Check that out. I feel good. Any questions at all, then write to me. No, don't write to me. What do you have to do?
Write to me.
Write to Rosie. Rosie's sitting here. Just write in that chatty thing, and then we can ask the questions. Rosie, if there's any questions, shout to me.
We already have one.
We have a question. Let's go for a question, and then we're going to start looking at your photographs. I need to quickly do a bit of rearranging.
From Tom Paul Dennison. This is going to make you laugh. 3 weeks in a row after critiquing my picture, Ed says, "You get a pic." I have no idea what this means.
Great. So what happens when you get a pic? You get a pic. I literally have no idea about what we do when we add those pics. I do want to do something with them at some point. Maybe we'll start. Tell me in the comments. What do you think? What if at the end of each week, the ones that I give a pic, what if we put them in a blog post on photosincolor.com? Would anybody go and look at them? Does anybody have any interest for that? And it'll be a great way for you guys to get a bit of a whoop whoop.
I think he wants to know why you say
No.
And also,
Your colour.
what's happening?
You got orange thread on your colour.
Oh, I got some bright orange. I don't know what's happening today. So just because Kev said maybe asking why I give a pic. I give a pic when I think something is pic worthy, meaning I think it is really good. It's on the current theme of the week. There's great composition, there's great exposure, there is great editing, and the whole image itself looks fantastic. That's when you get a P for pic in Lightroom. And at some point I might do something with them. I don't know. It's just for me to say congratulations to you guys. I would do a star rating, but I can't do that because some of you guys send in the files as like DNGs with metadata in them with the star rating attached. So it means that when it comes in here, I can already see I've got a 5-star, a 3-star, and I didn't rate those. So that would be unfair because you'd all just send in 5-star ratings then. So it wouldn't matter.
To share them on Instagram.
Share them on Instagram stories. I might do it on stories. The problem is this. You guys sending photos this way, and Instagram stories does it this way. So it's a little bit, sometimes I have a bit of a challenge. But do you guys want more Instagram? Is that something that you want? I can just do more Instagram, 1 a day. Should we do 1 a day?
Yeah.
1 a day Instagram starting today.
If we remember.
If I remember. I'm terrible at those things, but I will try. Okay, and should we stop talking? Should we look at some photos? Your photographs. This week, the theme was reflections. Let's take a look. First of all, the photograph sent in this week was by Swapnil Tiwari, who tunes in every single week, I think. So let's hide the side. If you want to know how I hid those side sections, I hit Tab. Tab to bring it in, Tab to get rid of it. If you want to get rid of the timeline at the bottom, you go Shift-Tab, and that gets rid of everything. Shift-Tab again, it brings everything back. You know, this is a place where we learn. So let's have a look at this. It is on theme. So what we're looking for with reflections is the reflection should add something to a photograph. Not just the photo has a reflection in it, you know, like you happen to be standing next to a window. That really doesn't add anything to the image. Overall, as a photograph, I think it's a little bit too pulled out. The aspect ratio is kind of square. Maybe you did it for Instagram. Maybe, remember now, Instagram isn't square only. You can now post landscape images to Instagram. But what I would do is I would definitely bring it in like so and make it more of a landscape. How am I doing this? I'm holding down Option, or I think it's Alt on a PC, and I'm dragging it. Will drag both the same from both directions. So if I crop this here, this to me works a little bit more as an image. It's more of a landscape in a landscape mode. I like it, and I do like the reflections. You've got really long, beautiful reflections. It's a little bit soft and maybe overexposed in areas with these lights here. I would have brought the exposure down and then lifted the shadows, like so, in post. But overall, Swapnil, I think this is really good, and I see your photographs every week, and I see you improving, so great work. Here we go. Oh, Oscar Palacios. We have a few people that love to take photos of bridges. Is that a thing? Does anybody know? Is it a thing that people take? Because I feel like we get a lot of bridge photos or rivers with bridges.
Over water.
Usually over water, it's reflections, so it kind of makes sense. But I don't know. So as an image, there's a few challenges. Is this in Rome? I don't know. Is that St. Peter's Square over there? It might be, because there are bridges and a river like this in Rome. So as a photograph, there's a few challenges that we've got with it. The yellows over here, the trees, are all kind of a little bit crazy. I'm not sure what you did with the colors over on the side, but my guess is with the yellows, you did some pretty intense editing there, or maybe took out the other colors apart from the yellows. And it's meant that you've gone a little bit flat. Also, we're missing this side of the bridge. And so this building isn't very interesting. The bridge is kind of important in this. So I would have cut this out and I would have framed the whole thing over this side. Got more of the bridge, less this building, and have the top of the building here over on this side in the top right-hand third. Outside of that, I like the reflections. And I think that you've done a good job of capturing the reflections. I just don't know that it adds anything to this photograph. But overall, I do like the composition if you just move it over to the left a little bit. Okay, look at this. This is a palm tree that needs a trim. Look at that, it needs a little trim down at the bottom here. But overall, I really like the reflection. The reflection adds something to this image, so it's wonderfully on theme, which is great. And this is from Leon Hydes. In terms of an edit as well, I do quite like it. The yellows are a little funky over here. Over this side here, I think we've just got a few too many yellows. Maybe I would have brought down the vibrance, but of the yellows only. So brought down the saturation. See what I just did there? Look at that. If I bring these yellows back, look at that. That is just one little button that I slid. And that, for me, changes this image and makes it way more realistic. I like the composition and framing. So that, Leon, is a great photograph. Good work. Oh, this is London. This is London Bridge. I like this reflection. So we've got the reflection in this. It's not a puddle. This is like a trough type thing, isn't it? I'm not sure where this is. Oh, there's a waterfall. So maybe it's something to do with a waterfall. Either way, the reflection here has definitely added to this photograph. The challenge that we've got here, though, is we've cut off the bottom here. You see this? If we're going to use a reflection like this, we want to see the top match down here. And therefore, what you could have done is framed this entire thing down. See, I'm cropping away half of the photo. But now and then, if I lift the shadows, this instantly, look at the before and after. And if I was to change the crop back, now the image, it looks completely different. Where'd it go? I broke it. Oh. I ruined it. I'm going to go here as shot. There we go. There you go. So you see here, it looks fine. But if I brought this framing way, way, way down to this area, let me undo this, because I like these people in the side. This here is a far more compelling image. Just make sure you don't cut off the bottom of the reflection. It's just as important as the top of the building. But overall, the reflection was definitely, you added something to the photo. So nice work. Rasmus Loris then. Oh, God, I suck at names. I mean, I don't know why I bother. Okay, so this one here, let's talk about this for a moment. Jimmy Yip, I kind of like this as a photograph. Unfortunately, there is a reflection. It's a nice reflection. I just don't think it really adds a massive amount. I'm not looking at the reflection. So it's kind of on theme, but not, not massively. However, as a photograph, I really like this. The girl is standing here, over-sharpened as an image, unfortunately. I can tell that you got lots of hard lines around everything, and which is a shame, and a white border around her bag. Little too much sharpening there, unfortunately. And she's photographing this vista over here, and I can't see it. So again, you needed to walk over to the left, ignore this building here, and let us see what she's photographing. It's clearly wonderful, Or if you need to fake it, ask her to turn around and photograph out this way, just so that we feel like we're getting the main image. But overall, I think the edit on this is really nice. It's got a lot of pop to it, a lot of vibrance without pushing it too far. So nice work, Jimmy Yip. Ooh, this is one of those beautiful painted pieces. So a nice long exposure on this. It must be, well, unless it was done in post, but it must be a good 10 seconds or something. Let's see if it's got this here. 70 seconds, that's over a minute. So that's how we've got these clouds, really, the strong blur on the clouds. Must have been a very still day, because still these trees are nice and sharp. And down here, look at the reflection, which is, hold on, what, how is this working? Oh, that's reeds in the water coming out, which is reflecting. Which I think is really beautiful. The whole thing, for me, my opinion, is just too dark. If I just lift this up, look at how that has now come to life as an image. That's what I would want to have done. And if by bringing those shadows up, you don't like the greens, because maybe that's why you kind of brought it down, you can take your greens and you can move them, okay, the color of them, maybe move it towards the yellows and then desaturate the greens. And maybe the aquas, it might live in the aquas. Oh, sorry, the yellows. So if we do that, take these yellows here as well. Now what we've done, we've moved the greens towards the red so it matches the sky. Something more like this. This has brought the image a little bit more to life. But overall, Eric, this is a fantastic job. Wonderful exposure, wonderful composition of this photograph. You know what this is going to get, guys? The finger is out. It is going into a P for a PIC. Oh no, what just happened?
Oh no.
Oh no, it was uploaded twice. It's okay, we have it twice. Sorry, delete. Oh, I got nervous then. Did anybody? Oh, we got a question? Question? Tell me what you think about this. Thank you. Thank you, Beyonce.
Destiny's Child.
Destiny's
actually.
Child. Well,
Yes.
she was a part of it.
This is from Jimmy Picks.
Jimmy Pig.
How long have you been doing photography? Did you start with film? Did you go to school for it? Thank you.
Great questions. How long have I been doing photography? About 34, no, 30, that's how old I am. About 14, 15, 16 years. About 16 years. How did I start photography and what did I start on film? Yes, I did start on film. I was leading up to my 18th birthday. I was interested in photography already, and I had a couple of little cameras. I used to love photographing when we went on holiday. My parents said, we're going to buy you a camera for your 18th birthday. What do you want? Digital cameras were really just coming out, you know. Nikon and Canon both had digital cameras, but they basically was the very first iteration of it. And I said, I don't want one. I want a film camera because I want to learn how to shoot on film. I shot on a Nikon F55, really basic camera, and I shot on film. And I would get everything developed. I had a book that I would go around with, and every time I took a photograph, I would write down which photograph in the reel it was, and what the lighting conditions were, what my f-stop was, my shutter speed, what lens I had on, all of those things, kit lenses, and then when I got the photographs back, I would analyze them and say, okay, under these conditions, it's a little underexposed, or the composition is this. I would draw on the photographs sometimes, and that's how I learned. From there, I then started shooting on slide. I had my grandmother's slide projector from like the 70s, and I'd project onto a wall, and that was my favorite thing that I did, shot on slide, because I was capturing light, and then to see, I had to shine light through it onto the wall. That was so much fun. And then I moved into digital. First camera, Nikon D300 when I moved to New York. Shot on that for years, loved it, fantastic. Did I train for photography? Absolutely zero training whatsoever. Never went to school for it or anything like this. I trained by taking tens and tens and tens of thousands of photographs, learning, practicing, and not just trying to be good, but I would go and photograph really, really boring things. I'd go and put something and I'd try and change the light, and I'd see how light interacted with the object under different conditions, different lenses, different focal lengths, all of that stuff. Hope that answered your question. Let's keep going and looking at some, oh no, we have to do Instagram. Do we post it? Yeah. Guys, let's vote on next week's theme. All you have to do is go to Photos in Color on Instagram. You go to the story. On that story, you will be able to vote on next week's theme. I'm going to come in here and have a look because I forgot what it was. The two themes are this. Lines, so your image must contain a load of awesome lines, or shoot through, meaning you must shoot through something, okay? And the photographs here it's very self-explanatory. It is currently, are you ready? 50-50. It is bang on the line. Look at this. That's a photograph of me at Disney yesterday. You'll see those things as well. There we go, right here. Look at that stuff. 50-50 at the moment. So go on Photos in Color on Instagram and vote right now. Was that it?
Yeah, we've got more questions.
Let's do one more question. I like questions.
The Beauty Box. Hello from Texas. I'm new to photography. I'm learning different things every time. What lens don't you recommend that's great in price but is great for portraits like outside? I think it's meant to be what lens do you recommend?
What lens do I recommend for portraits outside, correct? Mm-hmm. This is from, what was it?
The Beauty Box.
The Beauty Box.
I think she has a Canon 80D. She's just
Okay, she has a Canon 80D, so you're shooting Canon. What I would recommend if you want to shoot portraits, then get a prime lens. Definitely get a prime lens. Get a 85mm or a 105mm. You can go down to 50, but I wouldn't recommend it. I would go something a little bit longer and get an f1.8 or f1.4 if you can stretch your budget. But don't feel like you need to spend all of that extra money on an f1.4. It's really not necessary. Most of my lenses are 1.8s because 1.4 is great, but you end up going up a little bit anyway because that's such a shallow depth of field. It can be challenging. But if you shoot at a prime, you're going to get crazy sharp images. So I would go for an 85 or a 105, 1.8 mil. You could get a Canon lens because you shoot Canon. But for these lenses as well, feel free, go and have a look at an art lens. Go look at, if Canon's brought out, I think they, an 85 mil in the last year, then buy the model before, because the difference is going to be minimal and you'll be able to save a substantial amount of money by doing it that way. Shooting portraits though, shoot with a prime, especially if you're just starting out. Okay, let's look at some more photographs. This is from Sujay Krish. So our white balance is a little bit warm on this. I can see that down on the rocks here. But so I'm just going to pull that back a hair. There we go. The theme this week is reflections. We do have a reflection here, but I don't think it's really adding anything. You couldn't avoid reflections here, just because of the angle of the light and the angle of the camera and where you're standing. What I would have done though is gone and stood on these rocks so that you could have actually got in closer and made it look like a large lake, like so, and then maybe zoomed in a little bit so we could have just captured this one area. Then it would have been a little bit more interesting. But look, just by changing that crop, see, this is a little bit messy. I don't really know where to look. Crop this in, and now we're looking across a beautiful lake. So I would have done something a little bit more like that. Whoa, check that out. Okay, Tia Hitanen. Number one with this, let's just talk about energy for a moment. Sometimes a photograph doesn't have to be technically perfect. It doesn't have to be the greatest composition. It doesn't have to be some setup with all these clever lights or anything. A photograph can contain energy, and that there, or story or something, and that there is what brings us to photography. That's what excites us. This here, technically, it's fine, but it's not the world's greatest. We've got a bit of blur on there. We'd probably want a faster shutter speed. We're kind of over sharpened. But the idea that he's leaping over a puddle and we've captured him in the puddle contains energy, contains some thought, and I think you've done a fantastic job. If I was to critique, I would have gone a little bit wider on the lens and I would have got his foot down at the bottom just there. But, you couldn't go over to the background because the background's what it is, I think it's a great job. It's not technically the greatest photograph, but it contains energy and makes you go, whoa, that's so cool. So for that, Tia, I think you've done a great job, and it's completely on this week's theme of reflection. So nice work, Tia. Oh, we have a reflection, which is actually through a water droplet. So I like photographs like this. They're kind of interesting, but this one's given us a few challenges. And that is, I'm not in close enough, so I can't actually see what it is. Okay, I would want to be cropped in, maybe not this far, but a little bit tighter. The other side of it is what the reflection is of isn't that interesting. I want something like with a bit more drama or something. This is kind of just some, trees on the other side. And we've got these long stretch marks, which is what you get from a water droplet. If you change the angle, it's basically like a magnifying glass. If you change the angle in which you shoot, you could have made this, got rid of some of these lines here. I believe if you shoot a little lower, come underneath it, you wouldn't have seen as many of those, and you would have got a sharper shot there. As for your focus, it is sharp. It is a challenging photograph, and you have done a great job. I just think that what it is reflecting isn't particularly interesting. However, you have done a wonderful job of using a shallow depth of field, an f4.8, okay, on a 23mm lens. 23.4mm lens.
Cell phone?
Yeah, that's what I was going to go, but cell phone would be wider. Cell phone would be like 4mm. They're really weird. let's see, it's a Nikon Coolpix. There you go, that makes sense. So he was using more of a point and shoot camera. And so you've done a great job to really get that background blown out at f4.8. So for that in itself, you are working your equipment very, very well. So Rachel, that's really exciting to see somebody that's using a point and shoot and doing well with it. Let's keep on going. Oh, I like this. So this is a reflection. What I would have done though with this is I would have flipped it like this and I would have aimed it more towards the puddle. Now this person has added something to this. What they've done is they've made it black and white on one side and the reflection is in color. I get it, see what you've done. I don't think it's added anything to this photograph. Maybe it has added a little bit of drama down here and it allows us to see the two sides of it. It's like the underworld. But if this is the underworld, why don't you make this one black and white and the top one in color? That maybe would have had a greater effect. But outside of that, I think it's a great job of using reflections and an interesting edit. Tim Pratt, oh, look at that. Okay, so I like this. This is a great reflection. A little bit challenged on the focus. I think it's a little soft with focused here as opposed to on the eye. But this is what I like about this. You are at the level of the animal. So often when people take photographs of their pets or animals, they shoot kind of from the perspective of the human, kind of looking down at it. If you want to add drama to an animal photo, get down to its level and shoot at its eye level. It adds way more, it's way more dynamic and more exciting. So you've done a great job with that. Just watch the focus. And I think the edit is a little flat. That's maybe the biggest challenge that I've got here. I would want to bring my blacks down, if I leave my shadows, I'll bring my highlights up. Oh, no, I wouldn't. I'll bring my highlights down and my whites up. There you go. So now, just here, we've added a little bit of a pop to that. And what you can do to eyes, if I come over to the brush tool, and I go into here, and actually I have brushes that you can download from photosincolor.com. It's part of the PIC presets. And if I come into eyes, brown, because it's brown eyes, and I click on this, what I can actually do is I can paint onto this. Now, I've got O selected, so if I click off O, that it was red because it was showing me where I'm painting. You can turn that on and off by hitting O. And now when I come before and after, you see what that did was that just made that eye absolutely pop out. Come out here, look before and the after. Look at the difference of that. Now I'm drawn into that photograph. But overall, Tim Pratt, this is a really great shot, so I like it. Good work. Let's keep on going. A photograph of a building and tree in a dirty puddle. So, again, flipping it upside down makes these shots a little bit more interesting. I think the puddle's too dirty for you. That's what I think has happened here. I think that all of this dirt here is taken away from the building itself. Maybe if you'd have got lower, you could have photographed across the puddle a little bit more, getting a stronger reflection. So I see what you've done there. You've really gone for it. I just think that maybe a different puddle would have worked better. I like saying the word puddle.
Puddle.
Do I? Puddle.
Puddle.
Is it a puddle or puddle?
Puddle.
Puddle. It's a light L. I was using a dark L. Puddle. Okay, let's keep on going. Oh, thank you. Kev's dropping in more photos.
We've got some questions.
Oh, we've got questions. We're going to come on to those in a minute. We're going to whip through a few more photos. Here we go. This one, I love it. This one was taken inside at... this is Malaysia in Kota Kinabalu. This is an awesome building. You see here, these are tiles on the floor that they've photographed the building behind in, and they flipped upside down to put it the right way. Fantastic photograph. Absolutely love the composition of this. I like we've got the line down here. I think the whole thing's a little bit too dark. I'd have lifted it up a little bit. This here is a bridge that goes between the two buildings. I've walked on that bridge. Right there, I've walked across here. I love Malaysia, it's so cool. So this here, I think maybe this is like a little fountain. You know, there's little bits of water where there's a fountain or something, the tiles inside it, I don't know. But either way, great use of the word, great use of reflections. This building has been photographed in so many different ways. This is added a nice little twist to it. So what does that get? A finger licking PIC. All right. This is a Kerim Nabi. I don't know that this is black and white. I've got a feeling that there's blues in this image. Am I right? Am I right? Yes. Can anybody else see that difference? Just me. I know. You guys are always like, what is wrong with this guy? So let's boost up the vibrance. See this? We have blues and yellows in this photograph. I knew it. So if you're gonna make it black and white, what do? You click the black and white button and you make it black and white. But once we've done that, the blacks are black and the whites are white. So I like that a lot. We do have reflections and they do look really nice. So I like it as a photograph. I would kind of want you to stand down here where these guys are and not have those guys in the photograph. But outside of this, the composition is good. I would maybe have left this building out and given me a little bit more of the skyline over this side here. Because this just looks like a hotel or a restaurant, whereas this over here looks like a cool cityscape. But nice work. Ooh. So, Ricardus Ardruisca, few things with this. Number one, I think it's interesting. This is a bubble left outside somewhere cold, and what happens when you do that, the frost grows up the side of a bubble and doesn't burst it, and you'll actually end up with a frozen circle that you can pick up afterwards if it's cold enough. Very, very, very delicate. So that's what you've done here. You've got a bubble to land on somewhere very cold. You can see the frost coming up the side. So number one, awesome, a lot of fun to do. Film that and play it back in fast motion. It looks amazing. It kind of grows up the side. It's like trees growing around it. So that's cool. I really like the forest in this one. This is kind of different to the water droplet because we have drama here. We have the photographer in it. The challenge is this. You're shooting handheld and you're shooting for like over half a second. So what we've got is a blurry photograph. I know we're shooting handheld because I can see you shooting handheld right here. So you needed this on a tripod. If you'd have locked this up on a tripod, put it on a self-timer for 2 seconds, click go, you'd have got no vibration, you'd have captured this image and it would have been way, way, way better. F10 was the right decision so that you would have got front to back sharpness, but you just can't shoot something like that handheld, unfortunately. And if you were, I'd have taken my f-stop. I mean, what do you do? ISO 100. You could put your ISO up to 600, made your f-stop f5.6, you'd have still got a nice depth of field, and at that point you'd have been shooting at 1/350th of a second, or even 1/500th of a second probably with those settings, and you'd have got a sharp image. So there, technically, you're just slightly off on your photography. Whoa, crazy edit! So this was taken in by Sven Mycat. Oh, I said this the other week, didn't I? I got confused. Mycat. It's just my cat. My cat. It's my cat or your cat. If anybody follows me on Instagram, by the way, you'd have seen that I was in and out of LA a bunch this weekend, doing all sorts of different things. It was a little crazy. But it was also Rosie's birthday. 3, 2, 1. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Roses. Happy birthday to you. Woo! There you go.
So beautiful.
This video would have been copywritten through using the use of happy birthday, but I was completely out of tune, so they'll never notice. What were we talking about?
Your weekend.
Oh, his name is Sven Mycat, or My Cat. Rosie loves cats, so I took Rosie to a cat cafe where we hung out with, 34 cats running around. And I drank some kombucha at the same time. That's what I got from the cat cafe, and you got some tea. We were there for like an hour and a half. It was actually a lot of fun. If you follow me on Photos in Colour on Instagram, you'd have seen that. It's kind of funny. Anyway, let's come back to the photograph because that's what we're doing. I'm not usually into absolutely nuts crazy edits like this, but I kind of like it. I think the blacks are a little black, but I can't lift them up because we're just losing detail. I would go a little bit more like this though, okay? But this edit is it's like a neon power station. Maybe this is what you should call this photograph, neon power station. This is HKV Vattenfall. It's kind of cool. I love the reflections. It's absolutely a perfect reflection. So this must have been deadly still, this water. But fantastic. The blues, the purples, you got this smoke coming out of the top, meaning nice slow shutter speed. Let's see, 30 seconds for that, half a minute. I wouldn't change anything about this. I personally would not have edited it this way with the purples and the blues and the pinks, but stylistically, I absolutely love it, and I think you've done a fantastic job. So, who are you? Sven, my cat. You are going to get a PIC, because I love it. Whoa, this looks like it was at Disney. Look at that house. Look at that building, that hotel. Wow. It's not a house, it says hotel on the top. Really big. So, there you go. This is sent in by Alan Begic. I kind of like it. It looks like a fairy tale kind of place. Wherever you live, it's stunning. I think the colors are a little crazy for me. And also that water has a lot of algae in it. Is that just me? You got a blue sky and a green reflection. Maybe I'd have taken my greens towards my blues. Oh, no, that's the wrong thing. So I'd have gone like this. So you see what I did there? I went to the water and I turned it blue. More, I don't know. I don't know why it's so green. Does anybody know why you'd get such a huge green reflection? Algae in the water?
It's on a smartphone.
It's on a smartphone, it is. Samsung Galaxy. That was on a smartphone, guys. How cool is that? Maybe it's just your editing. Maybe that's what did it. But either way, it's kind of cool. And I think that this rooftop here is solar panels. I hope it is anyway, because that's kind of cool. Where are you based out of? Who's going to guess? I'm going to guess Scandinavia. No, Holland.
Somewhere like that.
Holland. I'm going to go for Holland. You're from Holland. If you're not, you are now. I like it. I think it's a cool photograph, and I think the reflections do add to the photograph. I just don't know why they're green. What? What is this? Oh, I thought that was a real person. I wish it was. So this looks like it's some cool piece of artwork hanging out on the side of a dam on the edge of a country, it looks like, with some guy waving to somebody on the top. I guess that's an important person. Marcus Cesar, this is great. And I love the reflection. I love the soft pastel colors of this photograph. I just wish, see up here, we've not quite got it down here. You needed to just aim it a little bit lower so that the reflection was actually in, or just don't worry about the reflection. You know, just get rid of the reflection. But you've kind of nearly got the reflection. So I just wish you had it a little bit further down on there. But overall, really well composed photograph. Nice work. So interesting. I'd love to see that. Okay, so this is a piece of still life. Very, very, very set up. Which, you know, I don't mind a setup photograph. That's fine. But if we're going to set something up so specifically, there's a few things we need to do. I don't know what this is. Is this a crease in the napkin, the serviette? We need to sort that out because that is massively distracting. So I would say you need to clear that already. I like the lighting that we've got on the plants and we're capturing that through here. But this is the other challenge you've got. You've put in sparkling water, meaning you've got bubbles on your glass. So you'd want to use still water, flat water, just to kind of make sure that you didn't have all of those little tiny droplets. Outside of that, I think it's an interesting photograph. But when it comes to these still life things, in my opinion, I look at them and I go, okay, cool. But I don't get why. It's like a scientific piece. Like, oh, hey, this is cool. Like science, water inverts things. You know, it's kind of cool. But I don't really get why we're taking that photograph. This, on the other hand, is cool. Look at that. So that's the original way that it's taken. And what I love about this is it is not equally matched, meaning we haven't got the people, we've only got them in the snowy, is it snowy reflection? I think it's snowy, or maybe it's just the concrete coming through. Either way, this is a fantastic photograph, isn't it? It just looks cool. This is something that would do well on Instagram. This is like an Instagram photo. So therefore, I'm going to give you a pick for that. Oh, look at this. Look how rich this is. This is a very richly edited photograph. The blues are really deep and emotional, and the yellows over here, a little too yellow for me. I don't know why, but have you noticed I comment on yellows a lot? I do say yellow a lot, don't I? Maybe that's something in my color spectrum that I'm sensitive to. But either way, I really like this, and the reflection adds a lot to this image, and I love the framing of the trees draping down from the top. It means you don't need to add a vignette to the photograph. You have one by nice, dark, shadowy trees. So nice work. Keep going. Oh, Mango Lassie. Is that what this is? What do we think? Mango Lassie? Mango. That's a mango drink, right?
I don't know.
Is that mango down here? Peach. Peach. Peach halves. Ooh, peachy. So I'm wondering if you haven't seen my video that I made about watches, olive oil iron watches, we did a shoot here in the studio, and I spray painted some Perspex black, peeled off the plastic, and we got this beautiful reflection base. If you haven't watched that video, go watch it. It teaches you how to do all sorts of things like this without having to buy special tables and stuff. So my channel, it's called Product Photography or something like that. I like this. I like the fact that we've got the reflection here. It's a little hot on these. You maybe wanted a softbox to soften those out. And I like the reflection. It adds something to it. The only challenge that we've got, I want another highlight down the side here. See, it's a little dark in the light. I want kind of a strip of light to go down the side. Would have been helpful. And also up here, look at this reflection. Things like that, you just want to clean up in post. You just want to kind of get rid of it because it's a little bit distracting. But outside of that, a well-composed product shot. Oh, Chicago, right? That's Chicago. It is. That's that huge video wall in the middle of Chicago. The Bean is around the corner. This is the Bean in another park. This is kind of cool. This is interesting. Water squirts from her mouth, actually, during the day at parts. I think this is cool. The problem is here, you probably wanted to do it as a portrait photo, because what we've actually done, we don't have anything full of anything. You know, we don't have either of the images full. Or the other option is, you see we've got people taking photographs. What you could have done here is cropped it in so that we see even less and make it more about the subjects. But unfortunately, what you've done here, Oliver, is you've just cropped off the whole thing. At some point in a photograph, you want something to be completed. And in this image, everything is a little incomplete in terms of the composition. So just work on that a little bit. Rosie, do we have questions? Yes. We do. I'm going to do this photograph, then we're going to do this. This is from Sebastian Lubinsky. You tune in every week. I love that. Subject, a little boring. Not in love with it. Composition, interest, really good. We have a mirror that we've shot, and we've managed to get the reflection of the lamp. So when you see it, you think that the lamps are attached to each other. So that's kind of interesting. Maybe you're in a hotel room and you captured this as an interesting image. Excuse me, for that I like it. But as an actual piece of interesting photography, I don't know, it's a lamp hanging on a wall. But I do like the composition and framing of it, because I think that's what makes it interesting. And you managed to capture an awesome reflection, which is on theme. We like to be on theme for the challenge. Rosie White, questions over to you.
We've got a couple. I'm not going to attempt to say it, because I know. So, how to build an eye for photographers for a beginner? Please help.
How to build an eye for photographers. Okay, the easiest way to do that is take loads of photographs and review photographs. This is what I see a lot of people doing. They go out, they take photographs, they come back in, they stick it in Lightroom, and they start editing, and they're like, oh, this is really cool, and then, you know, they'll post it or they'll go out and shoot again. Great, but you're missing a huge part of your workflow, which is you get the photographs back and you analyze it. You zoom in, you figure out, hold on a minute, like what I'm doing now. Oh, what would I have done differently? Oh, maybe if I'd have framed it a little bit more to the left, if I'd have moved over to the right, what would have happened if I'd have got lower? Take a look at your photographs. Don't only review what you captured, take a look at what you could have done differently. That's how you improve as a photographer, so that you don't go to the same position and take the same photograph again. Try and create more intrigue, and that's the way that you will improve. The other way to improve your eye as a photographer is use your body and your legs when you are shooting. Shooting here, moving around, going like, this is what we see. Cool, lay on the floor, stand on something higher, do something different, shoot through something, hold something in front of your camera and take a photograph. Create some more interest. That's what photography is. It should be interesting. So to improve your eye, you must challenge yourself and review your own photos constantly. One more question?
Yeah.
Go for it.
Helen Jenkins Knight.
Helen Jenkins Knight, all the way from the UK. Hello.
I recently lost some files deleted by accident. What's the best photo recovery software?
Okay, so if you lose files, if you just delete them on a SD card, they still exist. So let me talk about how file systems work a little bit on memory cards and things like that. Is if you have, say, 32 gigabyte SD card, what happens is you take photographs and it fills all of these up, but when you quickly look at them in your computer and it loads into Finder or whatever, it doesn't load all of these photographs. Bless you, Kev. What happens is it builds like a table of contents. So it says, this photograph is located here, this one is here. So when you load it on, all the computers look at that table of contents, tiny little file, and says this is where all of the files are. So when you click on it, it can go find it. So when you delete your files from a memory card, the only thing that actually gets deleted is the table of contents. Gets rid of that. And then all that happens is all the files are actually still there, but the computer can't read it. As you take more photographs, it will just start layering everything on top, and it will slowly delete everything as you fill up your memory card. And then it just updates the new table of contents. So if you've accidentally deleted something and it hasn't gone corrupt, what that means is chances are just don't photograph on that SD card for a while until you recover it. Those files still exist. So a good piece of software for that, I use, because it's happened to me, it's on that computer there, Kev. Go to Rosie. Rosie, you can chat for a second or ask more questions. I'm going to find the name of this quickly.
Ask more questions?
Yeah, you can ask me a question.
Okay.
I got it. It's called, the one that I've used is called Disk Drill. DISKDRILL. It's by a company. You have to buy it, unfortunately, but there is also companies out there that will do it for you. But basically, you plug it in, you run this software, and it will go through and do it. However, just listen to this for a moment. When you're trying to recover data, people know that you're usually in a flurry to get that done. And you really want to get it done. It's really important. So there's a number of companies out there that have created free software to do this. But with that free software often comes a virus. So that's how they get you. You're like, oh, I need to get all these things. Oh, hey, do this for free. And then you end up with a virus on your computer. So be very, very, very careful with who you buy with, and do some research and see before you just download these free ones. Same with converters. You know when you can download video converters? Don't download any of those from the website unless it's from like the Apple Mac Store or something like that. Instead, use an online converter where you upload your video, it converts and you download it. That way you don't have your computer at risk of getting a virus. I hope that helped. It's hard to actually say which software to use to do this because everyone has a different computer system. But sometimes you can go into a local camera shop as well, or tech shop and you can give it to them and they will actually do it for you. That's always a really good way of doing it. Okay, let's come back to some photographs. Where are we with the vote on Instagram as well?
We are. I just checked. Just a second.
Rosie will do that. I'm going to keep looking at the photograph. Marcus Narkison. This, I really like this. This is a piece of nighttime photography. We've obviously got a light on the right-hand side here, you know, and I actually don't mind that. I love that we've got the stars and then the water's moving. Oh, it's a little over-sharpened as a photograph, unfortunately. I think the exposure is a little, look at this. This photograph, though it's a JPEG, there's still plenty of detail in this. And look at this, I can lift the shadows and I can lift up the highlights. Look at all of this. I'm getting so much data out of this. Bring the black spot. Look at this, before and after. Now this photograph is just come to life. So much more. So just don't be afraid just to lift things up a little bit. And I think that we do have reflections. Oh, let me just change this to one-on-one. There you go. We do have reflections. And I think it does add something. Yes, this lake in front really is important. I think you've done a fantastic job. You really have captured the stars. It almost looks like daylight now, which is what's really exciting when you take these type of photographs. It's a 30-second exposure, which is why, you know, our stars aren't perfect in the lake or body of water. Either way, I think it's a well composed photograph. So great work, Marcus. Keep going. Oh, like this, John Esposito. Every week. I'm going to do it every week. I don't care. But, you know, because that's what he says. I like this. This is a portrait of somebody, but it also tells you about them. You know, he's playing the piano. This is a beautiful use of reflections, crazy sharp, which is fantastic. And we've also got his face nice and sharp mainly as well. Now, how do you do that? You need to have the piano here, which is reflected, the same distance away as the camera. That means that, because you're focusing actually on the piano through his glasses, right? That's what you're doing. So you need to be the same distance away from the piano to his eyes. So the distance from the piano to the eyes and the eyes to the camera should be the same. That way, the piano can be in focus, so can his face. So you've done a good job there. Challenges with this, you've cut off his chin, which is just a little bit frustrating. But outside of that, great use of reflections, great portrait, and it tells a story. So I like that a lot. Good work. Definitely reflections. Lots of reflections, lots of mirrors. White balance, a little crazy. I'm guessing this wall was white or grey. Let's see what we can do to see if we can pull any. Oh, it's all just going to be a little blue. Yeah, so that ruins the photograph. I actually think that having a little bit of a crazy white balance is the only thing that makes this photograph kind of come together. So yeah, lots of reflections, lots of gold mirrors, kind of cool bulbs going on. It's all very warm. It's almost like what's Enter the Dragon? Is that movie where they fight in the end in the mirrored wall? Kev, you with me?
Inception?
It wasn't Inception I was talking about, but this is just like Inception. Interesting, lots of mirrors and everything like that. Oh, who's in the mirror? You taking a photograph. We got you. Right there, sneaky. It's like a hidden portrait. The challenge is we've got like just random stuff caught in mirrors, and that's the hard thing with mirrors. You end up catching other things. Are you a gold mirror collector? And then you're shining. Yeah, it's a weird location, but it's kind of cool. Kind of cool. Wow. So this is just a big reflective side of a building, which is either glass or mirrored, that you're taking photos through. And the entire image is a reflection at this point. I actually like this because the reflection is uneven. If those glass panels were perfect, I wouldn't like it because you couldn't tell that it was a reflection. But because it's all bent and wobbly, I kind of like it actually. So nice work. Let's keep whipping through these here. Whoa, this is cool. Okay, so this is a little crazy. Let's see what. Yeah, so you know what, with this, it's a bit of a mess, and I like it for that reason. We've got the photographer in it, we've got people walking outside, we've got the chandelier inside of a coffee shop or something. The building, it's kind of a mess. It looks like a quadruple exposure, but instead it's just taken through a window. Perfectly on theme for reflections. Really interesting photograph. It's almost like a work of art in itself as opposed to a photograph. It's something that you could print quite small and have it, hung in a house. It's kind of cool. I like that, Ivan Matthew. Yellows, just me? Crazy yellows on this. Crazy colors, just too much on the colors. Like everything's crazy. And unfortunately, the reflection doesn't do anything for this photograph because it's cut off. So yeah, it's not really on theme. Oh, a photographer capturing a photographer taking photos of reflections. Now that's Inception. They were looking at it on a photography channel. That's crazy. Okay, so this is, it's sharp. I think the edit is a little bland on this, and I don't think that the photographer adds anything to the photograph at all. It's frustrating that they're covering up the image. I actually, in this situation, I want to see what's coming out of their camera. That's the problem with this, is that we have a big feature in the image, but it doesn't add anything to it. Okay, cool work of reflections. Like it. We're reflecting an apple. I think it's inside out. Anybody else think that? Oh, no, wait a minute. No?
It's deep.
It's deep. But I think that what we should be seeing is the apple in its current state looking into a mirror for the way that it is going to be, which is eaten. Although maybe it's more of a conversation about people where they look a certain way when they look in a mirror, that they think that they're bigger than they actually are. Or maybe this is a comment on society. Whoa. Whoa. Alex Lima, you just went deep with this. Anorexic apple. Whoa. That just got a little crazy. You know what? I like it. I like it as a conceptual piece. I just think that it's more the concept is more interesting than the photography. I think the photography is a little bland. I think the angle is a little odd. So for me, that's where it's just let down a little bit. But as a concept, and great use of the theme, reflections, like nailed it. So great work there. Yeah, I mean, we're not really taking a photograph of anything apart from some cranes, and we're way, way too zoomed out there. So for a photograph like that, yeah, you just want to crop that way inside. Let's whip through a load of photographs now. I want to get through as many as I can in the last few minutes, because we've already done an hour already. Whoa. Cute, cute, cute. Look at this, pointing at some vegetables. Eat your greens, baby. I don't know. I think the reflection does add something, actually, but we've cut the baby's face off, so it just becomes about the hand. So I want a little bit more story involved here. And also, where is that other hand coming from?
She's obviously sat on someone's lap. She's sat on someone's lap.
Why is the angle like this?
I think they're reading something.
Yeah. So the person's got their arm.
Oh, I see it. Yeah, okay. Ignore that. I can't figure that out. What do we got here? Adam Panksikus. Good name. Good way of saying the name. It is a good name. Sorry. Excuse me. Look at this. I love this. Unfortunately, the reflections, we've got a long exposure, but there was a lot of movement in the water. So the reflections are a lot softer, and we have a moving boat in it. I think that without the boat would have looked a lot better. It's too distracting for me. But overall, as a cityscape, I like it that all the tops of the buildings where the logos were, for all of the names of the buildings, are kind of all blown out. I actually like it for this, because it kind of, I don't know, adds this like spotlight onto the top of each one. Really well composed image. I think it's a little high. We need a little bit more headroom up at the top here, a little less down here, in my opinion. So what do I see with this? Big white border. Literally, that white border has ruined this image. I just can't, I can't focus on what I'm looking at. I'm just looking at a big white border, unfortunately. When you print an image, that's fine, but on a screen, I can't even see what I'm looking at. Outside of that, you know, I don't mind the photograph is quite well composed. I like the layers going through here. I like the sharp reflection of this water here. It's kind of a nothing location turned into something quite interesting. Just the big white border, you just can't even see the photograph. It's like all the focus is on, you know, we are very susceptible to contrast as human beings. We see light and dark very easily. Got a dark photograph with a huge white border, so that's all I can see. It's the bridge man again. See, lots of bridges, you guys. I think that, I don't know, there's just too much going on. There's lots of contrast. I get the reflections there quite nice, but I don't get the top of the building on each side of those things. It's just about the bridge. And then it might be a little over-processed for me, because I don't know where to look. I'm just like, okay, lots of lines and highlights and shadows and everything. So yeah, a little bit composition-wise, you need to show me more of the story. Wait a minute, I'm figuring it out. Oh, love the photo. I just found it. Anybody else? It took me a minute to figure that out. We are outside of a building, shooting through some glass. The lines are coming from blinds which actually open, but we're photographing the reflection of a building. That is layers on layers just there. That there, just for finding this moment, gets a pick. I think the colors are a little crazy though. I think the greens are a little funky. Is that just me? Yeah, like look at that. Now it's a little bit more natural. The green, I don't quite get it. I think the building would have been more yellow overall. Yeah, I'm not going to do any more editing. You know, this might look good in black and white. No. Maybe, I don't know. I think that the processing might need a little bit of work on that photograph, but composition-wise and interest, fantastic. A bird on the roof of a car, I'm going to say. The car's dirty. The bird's head's cut off. I just don't think that the reflection, I don't think you've really captured this bird. I'm not in love with the bird because I don't think it's very charming on the roof of a dirty black car, unfortunately, in my opinion. It's got one leg, right? The other one's tucked up. You can see its claw just hanging out there. It's kind of cool. Yeah, so yeah. Oh, okay. Love the photograph. Nice and interesting. Reflection doesn't necessarily do anything apart from the fact that you have nailed it in terms of you've got this beautiful long point, got it in frame, leading lines to the corner, composition wonderful, edit on the black and white, fantastic. This is a great image, not massively about the theme of reflections. This here, a little bit high on the crop here. We've got too much river. We'd want to kind of get it a little bit more even. And yes, we need to level it off. Something more like this. But we do have, I think we had a similar photograph from you the other week actually, from Giuseppe Salvini. Not massively about the reflections, but I think you have done a good job. I think you just need to lift up your shadows just to bring some detail back in there. But are you standing in that as well? Maybe you're a fly fisherman and you took a photograph of that. Here we go. Oh, great work. Wonderful sunset. Not the biggest fan of sunset photos, but this you have done a great job. Reflections work really well. You've captured the depth and scale of the sky. The sunset just before it goes down. Again, it's that yellow color. I would take the yellows and push it towards the oranges, just a hair, like so, just to kind of tone in that sun a tiny little bit. Outside of that, great job, and I like it. Here we go. Oh, I missed one. Whoa! This is awesome. This is how it was taken. This is a great example of an upside down photograph. Why is this so great? Because it looks like this is a reflection, and therefore all of a sudden the sky has all of these crazy rocks in it. This here, Kevin's sofa, you get a pick for that because the processing on it is awesome. The idea behind it, the flipping it, the composition, fantastic job. Some birds on a dirty beach. We've got a little bit of reflection. I don't think that it adds anything to the photograph. I think that the photograph doesn't contain a lot of dynamicism. Help me out! How do I dynamism? It's not very dynamic.
Don't call me in the back.
Yeah, change the sentence. Everyone's like, I'm not talking to you. I don't know what you're saying. Okay, here we go. We're going to do the last few because I'm going to get through. Oh yeah, we've got the last few. I'm going to get through all of these. If you have been uploading, you're a little bit late today. Unfortunately, I'm not going to get through any more once I've done the ones that are already in Lightroom. If you have noticed, Kev has been a little bit tougher recently on quality of photographs. We're really trying to stay on theme and get rid of all of these snapshots that we're getting sent in. So if your photographer was not here, you need to try harder. You need to work harder to take better photographs on theme. Somebody's knocking at the door. Hello? Don't know what just happened. Somebody there?
Door rattling.
Oh, it's just rattling. Nobody's at the door. Let's just come back here. These are...
Ghost.
This is the ghost of Christmas past. So I like this. The reflection adds a lot. It's a very crisp reflection. In fact, the reflection is crisper than the actual one because there's haze up here. The problem is over sharpened. I know this because the way the rocks look really flat, you've had a lot of sharpening and then some noise reduction as well. Or you've just used, over here, let me show you what you've probably done. A lot of sharpening, and you've made your radius really big, and then you've really masked it out, and then you've added some noise reduction quite a lot. And what that does to the image, so I've just accentuated what the person would have done on and off. You see how it makes it pop, but if you look here in the shadows, just here, what you're going to do is you're going to lose the detail, which is probably what's happened there. So over sharpened and then over noise reduced, however you say that. Yeah, I like it. I just don't think it says a lot about anything. This, on the other hand, fantastic job at getting this smack bang in the middle, and then getting the guy walking down. It really does look like the street is twice as wide. And I don't mind this building. If you were to come out a little bit more, maybe you've got the building to match so that it actually looked like another building here. But overall, fantastic photograph. I love the reflection streaking up here, so you know it's a reflection. Composition, wonderful work. You get a pick. Bit of a snapshot. I like it because it's a photo in a photo in a photo in a photo, but it's just a photograph in a lift because they have mirrors on both sides, and it just means that the image gets repeated. So it is reflections. It's on theme. It's kind of, you know, it is what it is, but it's just a photograph in a lift, unfortunately. This is awesome. I don't like this light here on this thing. It's lighting up a hammock, so put somebody in it or try and hide it some way. I wonder if we can just take down the greens. I don't know if we can do this. I don't know if we... You may just be challenged here. Like that's what you've got. Oh, so we can kind of tone it down. So now it's not pulling my focus quite as much as it was before. That looks a little bit better to me. But overall, I really like this. And the reflections, is this like an infinity swimming pool? I think it is, which makes it really cool. I want to go there and hang out. Rosie, let's move there. Thank you, Ross Vickers. I think it's a great example of using reflections. Ooh, moody, misty, beautiful use of reflections. This is exactly what I want. I would lift the whole thing up and I bring the blacks all the way down. So then we made the blacks blacker and the whites whiter. Great composition. I just wish it wasn't so dark up here and that we got to see the edge of the lake. I don't know if that was a vignette or something. It's just a shame. Last few. So I like it when these reflections happen like this and we have the vertical masts because it's almost like the boat is not floating in water, but the mist has got rid of the horizon, meaning it's like it's just floating. It becomes more of an impressionist painting. And I actually like that as a photograph. So Gary Nichols, I think you've done a really, really good job of that. And great work of capturing such a sharp, beautiful, what's it called? Reflection using an iPhone. Wow. Yeah, that's pretty freaking good for an iPhone. That would be great on a regular, on a camera. Okay, so yeah, this is a photograph of a girl taken as a reflection in some kind of a little raised pond thing. I like it. I think the color grade makes this image a little plain. You know, yeah, I'd want to mix this up a little bit. Let's see what we can do here. I don't want to throw in you see it, look at all these filters. I'm just clicking through pick presets, and pretty much anything that I'm clicking is actually improving this image. Oh, look how cool that looks. Whoa, that looks kind of cool. Look at that. Before and the after, it's probably gone a little bit too far, but you see we've added that interest. And the puddle's a little dirty, but in this image, I kind of don't mind it. I'd have just made it a little bit more retro, because she's wearing kind of cool 70s retro patterns, so I would want to stick in the photograph into the 70s, you know? Yeah, cool. Okay, last photograph. Whoa! Yes, perfect use of reflections. This is what we're going to close out on today. And we're going to hold Option. I'm going to bring this in though, and I'm going to make it more like this. Cityscape. Blue. It's a little too blue. So I'm going to white balance over this side. Watch this. White balance. Look how that completely just changed that photograph. We moved it away from the blues, and now we can boost our vibrance. And what I'm going to do is here, saturation, yellows. See that? I'm going to bring back all of my yellows. Move them into the reds. Oh, look at that. Look at the before and after. Blue, flat, great composition, not great edit. Now, look at that. It's just brought it together. So exciting. You could now print this and stick it on your wall in your living room. That is it. That photograph is going to get a pick, and it's from Jacob Tranakakada. So bad. Okay, so thank you so much for sending in all your photographs. Next week's theme is going to be
Shoot through.
Shoot through, and what was the percentage?
54%.
It was close this week. You guys were battling it out head to head like this. I don't know why that's head to head. Shoot through. What do I mean by shoot through? I mean this. If this is your camera, just a lens, but if this is your camera and I'm going to take a picture of this computer, I'm going to go like this. Take a cup. I'm going to shoot through the whole of the cup, and I'm going to shoot through it. So I'm going to create this beautiful blur in front of it. All it means is no matter what your subject is, put something close to the lens and shoot through it. Maybe that be a great example of this is grab a plant. You shoot through a plant, and you're going to create loads of interest. I want you to work hard on this. Really try sticking things in front of your lens and making sure that the focus on something is really sharp, and there's something that you're shooting through is nice and blurry. Thank you so much for watching this week's PIC Live show. We have Kev working hard over here on the stream and making sure your photographs are coming in nice and safe. We have Ray, who's clicking through all the different camera angles and making me look fantastic. We have Rosie asking your questions and keeping track of all of the comments. Do you write in the comments?
Yes.
She's writing in the comments and communicating with you guys. My name was Ed Gregory.
Oh, wait. Daylight savings.
Daylight savings. What am I saying?
It happens until till England, not until the 25th of March.
Okay, daylight savings. Next week we 10 a.m. No, we're just going to be. That's not 10 a.m. We are going to be an hour earlier than we usually are for next week as well, just because of daylight savings. I'm sure you guys tuned in like 10 minutes ago.
Yeah.
That makes sense.
6 o'clock England time.
6 o'clock England time.
I think.
Anyway, upload your photographs. The link will go live next Monday on photosincolor.com/live. If you enjoyed the show, please give me a thumbs up. Watch all of the videos on YouTube. Lots of thumbs up, lots of comments. Please get in touch. Send messages. I love doing all those things. Hang out on Instagram. You can always send me messages on Instagram, and I try and respond to all of them. My name is Ed Gregory. This was Photos in Color and another PIC Live show. Peace.